Hello dudes and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be telling you guys the top 10 best tips to help you win battle mode. Alright, let's get right into tip number 1. Right off the bat, when you start, you have about a few seconds before the match actually starts. Instead of just waiting patiently, staring at the chest you're going to grab, why don't you take some time to look around and try to figure out where you want to go, and in general, it can help you out a lot. One of the things best to look for is someplace high and someplace far where it looks like it has a lot of chests. You might want to try to go up there for a good vantage point, as well as when the chests start respawning, you'll have a few to grab right away. When you encounter a chest, it's very important, especially at the beginning, to make sure you use the grab all in chest button. This will help you get all the items in your chest right away as quickly as possible. You can narrow them down later if you need to. Alright, that leads me to my next tip, which is you absolutely have to, getting starting center chest. Usually I would advise against it because of the map size and the short invincibility time, but 4J has strategically made it so a majority of the food is only at spawn at the start. I mean literally most of it, not all of the chests you will find outside of the spawn will only have one apple or one pork chop at the most, which will easily lead you to starve to death. So tip number 3, very important, get at least one chest at the start of the round. Tip number 4 is food management. Now I see this a lot where people grab too much food. Now it seems a little hypocritical after my last tip, but it's very important that you keep as many inventory slots as you can open. I mean, you only have 9 and don't waste it with too much food. This tip is very simple but rarely see used at all. If you have one inventory slot with nothing in it, it allows you to open up a chest while crouched at the same time, which you never see anybody doing. It can be very helpful, however, but make sure people do not see your name and start going after you. You want to have that extra time and want to stay out of sight so people do not gun for you. Tip number 6 is stealth. Now it is easy to get carried away with this one. I do all the time. I love jumping from the highest point of the map and landing on someone at spawn and trying to defeat them and take them by surprise. The problem with this plan is not only the fact of losing health from fall damage, but also if there is another player there, or if there is another player watching, he will jump on the opportunity to kill you right afterward. In order to be stealthy, you must be smart. Crouch, double check your surroundings, and patiently make your way to your target. Alright guys, tip number 7 is my overall favorite. You'll figure out why in just a second. Anyways, tip number 7 is the bow. Now what I mean by the bow is not only do you want to make sure you have one, but you want to make sure you use it. I always use it at the beginning, especially since all these players love charging with their wonderful stone fire aspect sword. You can still whip them if you just use a bow. It's as simple as that. I have plenty of examples, and plus I love using the bow. I consider myself better at using a bow than creeping up behind somebody and using a sword. I know it's a little bit weird, but if you get used to it, it can be so deadly. Tip number 8 is one that is not always necessary, but it's just kind of a pet peeve of mine, and I always like to make sure that I do it every round because it tends to help me when situations get a little bit, unpredictable. For example, when I reorganize my inventory, I like to have my sword, my bow, my food, then a couple arrows in the middle so they're harder to get to. I don't need to have arrows in my hand, I just need to have them in my inventory. And since you only have 9 slots, it's very important to keep your inventory well organized. Now at the end I have a few potions. I don't like to have more than 2 or 3 just in case I come across another potion that I prefer, or maybe I need more space, for example for TNT or fire charges, which I rarely use, but I like playing around with those sometimes. Alright, we're starting to get juicy now with tip number 9, which is very important, especially in the later rounds when it's just you and one other guy. You have to make sure you're very aware and make sure you have the highest tier of armor as possible. But anyways, this is more of a fighting technique tip, a PvP tip. But anyways, what it is when you're playing somebody one-on-one, it's very important that you let them come to you. Not saying let them get the first hit in, but I'm saying let them charge at you. You can use your bow, for example, while they're charging at you, and you can get 2 or 3 shots in with the bow, and they'll start running away, and then you can charge after them. But let them come to you. Therefore, it gives you the advantage, and it allows you to choose when you want to start the fight. Alright guys, we're on the final tip. Now this one actually took me a little while to get used to, and it's not always true, but most of the time it is. And that tip is you don't have to go to spawn after you get the first spawn chest. When it gets later into the round of battle mode, most of the players like to charge in the spawn, and it just becomes a bloodbath, which is something you don't want to get into, because if you get your health down, it will be very easy to kill you. Not only that, is there's plenty of great chests and great items in those chests around the spawn where other people may not be focused on, and you can get those items and have the upper hand. I have a couple of occasions where I actually have better armor than people who went to the spawn, because I have found them faster and there's nobody to distract me or try to battle me because they're too busy going to spawn. Anyways guys, I hope you dudes enjoyed these top 10 tips to help you win battle mode. These tips I personally use all the time, and I keep practicing and practicing, trying to use them as much as I can and just get into a rhythm of keep using them, making it a habit, and it has become one, and it's much easier to win battle modes now, and I hope you guys decide to use these tips. Feel free in the comment section below to add any other tips you guys may have found. If you guys like this video, maybe I'll do more top 10s. Just say so in the comments. I read every comment and I try to respond to all of them. So anyways guys, I hope you dudes enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I do have time. Oh, you can get two. No, you have to. I got new stuff.